Hello, say Charat. When you look in the mirror, do you see an ugly person? See, it might be an exaggeration to say that you are completely ugly, but what is quite common is to find parts of our body that we don't like. The skin that is not good, the nose that is too big, crooked teeth, the belly that is too bulging, being too short. The idea would be to observe your own image with acceptance, tranquility, and even pride for every detail of your own body. There are people who even say, you see, I'm not ugly, it's just that other people don't find me beautiful. However, certain people can feel extremely bad because of an inappropriate or exaggerated or distorted perception. The person who thinks that he's very ugly can go through a lot of suffering. And this is not just vanity, it is something that can damage relationships and even a professional career. So, what can you do when you feel ugly? If you have the courage to face your imperfections, pause the video now and comment below which part of your body causes you the most dissatisfaction. Then you're going to see you're not alone. You can use this information later to do an exercise that helps you to increase your quality of life. Are you ready? Did you comment with the part of your body, or maybe the whole body, that you consider ugly? First, leave a comment about what part of your body you think is ugly, and now just for yourself reflect. What emotion does that cause you? Is it rage, boredom, shame, shyness, anxiety? After understanding your emotions, then we will continue. The feeling of ugliness has increased around the world as the human brain makes comparisons with the available information. The first thing you need to be aware of is that before the internet, the basis for comparisons was much smaller. You would compare your level of beauty with the people in your social circle and also with a few celebrities who would appear on television or magazines. Until recently, there were few television channels available, very few magazines circulating. But today, social networks bring us access to the entire connected humanity. So it is obvious that you will find examples of people who are more beautiful, especially within your particular standard of beauty. And today you're being compared to the best photos of the most beautiful people on the planet and who often use touch-ups with image editing. There are even studies that show the relationship between the amount of use of social networks full of photos and the problems of self-esteem with the body. Similarly, if I like playing music or like playing a certain sport, for example, today I can search the internet and find videos with the best performances of the best people in the world, and I don't need to feel like a failure because I don't have the same level of skill. So it makes no sense for you to be comparing yourself with people whose profession is based on beauty. They're paid to be training their body to make plastic surgery to wear the fanciest clothes, makeup, and accessories. But keep calm, maybe. Now you tell me that you don't need to be comparing yourself with those beautiful people to know that, I don't know, those pimples in your face make you feel ugly. So what can you do in that case? Examine viable solutions to keep improving. The philosophy here of Arat Academy is your continued improvement. And with regard to your physical beauty, this can be applied in several ways. First, you can do some research, you can evaluate to understand what can and cannot be modified viably. I'll give you 3 examples to illustrate different levels of viability: high, medium, and low. High viability. For example, if what you wrote in the comments is something that can be modified in a viable way, then you can try the solutions and see how you feel. For example, if I wrote that I don't like my pimples, I could try a dietary change and see what happens, or I could try a different routine of cleansing and skincare. If you want to lose weight, you can visit the link arato.se/leptin for better understanding of food and hormones. These are just examples that are considered to be viable because they are practical and have a low cost to experiment, and they also have a low risk. Now, average viability, if you wrote that you don't like the shape of your nose, well, the financial cost of implementing a cosmetic surgery solution would be a little bit higher. There's also a higher risk because, after all, we're talking about the surgery. So depending on your economic resources and how you feel about the risks involved, it could be viable or not. Low viability. In case you told us that what bothers you is the fact that you are very short, then you will find very few viable alternatives. You could try shoes with a special sole that would give you a few extra inches. You could change your hairstyle to make you look taller. You could improve your posture, and there is also a painful and expensive surgery to get taller, which is not viable for the majority of people. Do you understand now this decision-making process? It is always necessary that you understand what you want and the price that you're willing to pay. About the costs, there are people who spend a lot of money on makeup, with the risk of using anabolic steroids or surgery, or they spend a lot of time taking hundreds of photos to at least get one photo that they like. Because of all of this, the perceived ugliness has an importance that goes far beyond pure vanity, and that's why it is important to take this issue seriously. Now, watch out. It is possible that even with expensive and painful surgery, it will not solve your problem. You're probably thinking of people who have done several surgeries to do touch-ups and they're never satisfied. The problem in this case is not physical or the static appearance. It is a problem within ourselves, the way we see our own image. In these cases, what the patient is asking for is a physical modification of the body, or is it that they want to see themselves in a different way? On the one hand, there is a desire for objective, aesthetic change, but on the other hand, there is also the desire to change the perception of the subjective image that we have. Have the strength to change what can be changed, and serenity to accept what cannot be changed. The main key to personal development is to be able to make conscious choices and have peace of mind. When you realize that the solution is not viable, it means that the objective, visual, aesthetic, external change is not possible. So now you can level up and you can work on a different dimension, looking for subjective, internal change. You can change the way you relate to yourself and how you feel about that ugliness. I'm not telling you to run away from reality. It is not enough just to stop looking at those sculptural bodies of magazines and social networks that are apparently full of perfect people. Trying to isolate yourself is a very difficult thing to do, and it can cause other anxieties. It is better to continue to work on your personal development in terms of how you can see yourself. If you don't do the acceptance process properly, you may experience a lot of unnecessary suffering, just like the case of people suffering from BDD, the body dysmorphic disorder, which in the past was known as dysmorphophobia. The disorder occurs when a small body failure causes disproportionate dissatisfaction. So feeling ugly can become an obsession and it can start to damage your day-to-day. Body dysmorphic disorder, BDD, impairs your quality of life because of this perception error. And BDD is an exaggerated and disproportionate concern because of a false perception of who we are. BDD is much more intense than just thinking that that particular part of your body is ugly. It is a disorder when you're persistently thinking about that every single day, even when other people that you trust say that this defect is normal, it is something imperceptible. But then your life starts to be affected because you stop participating in certain activities because of your perceived ugliness. For example, you don't want to appear in family photos because you feel ugly. You don't want to meet your friends on the beach or in a swimming pool because you don't want to be showing off your body. Body dysmorphic disorder can cause you so much anxiety that you are afraid of being judged, being ridiculed. And when something unwanted happens to you in your life in general or at work, as happens to everybody, you start to believe that the reason for not being treated properly is because of your physical appearance. And this is the interpretation bias, which happens when you go through some negative experience and you start to believe that it is exclusively because of your body. Imagine, for example, that I'm a terrible driver, right? And then someone honks at me. In this case, I can keep thinking that people are rude to me because I'm ugly, instead of realizing that actually I need to learn to drive better, to drive well. So the interpretation bias will also hinder my personal growth, my personal development. Now, we don't need to go to the extreme case of BDD. Even if you are slightly uncomfortable about your physical appearance, it is possible to work on your perception, on your self-esteem. And a solution based on scientific evidence is mirror exposure therapy. Mirror exposure therapy is similar to meditation processes. You can use the mirror to better manage your emotions in relation to your own body. This works very well in non-pathological cases, in most common situations, when we're just a little bit dissatisfied with our own body. However, if you suffer from clinical depression or if you have a serious case, a history of self-mutilation, Obviously, you have to seek immediate help from professionals that you trust. Now let's go back to the most common examples. If, for example, you don't like the shape of your nose, avoid wondering how good would it be for you if you would have a different shape of a nose. It would be much better for your psychological self-esteem to simply accept your nose as it is, accept that there are different types of noses out there and there is no right or wrong shape. I'm not saying that nobody ever should do cosmetic surgery. There are cases in which the person's self-confidence increases greatly after undergoing a viable, low-risk cosmetic surgery, which does not harm the person also economically. What we're talking about here is that you cannot deny your perceived defects. You must not run away from the truth. On the contrary, you must seek the truth by facing and observing how your body looks like. This is how you can begin the process, a healthy process of self-assessment and understanding of who you really are. The mirror exposure therapy is a type of cognitive behavioral exposure therapy. A trained therapist guides the patient by looking in a mirror for several sessions with the ultimate goal of improving body image through habituation, of getting used to see one in the mirror with a healthier look. Are you interested in knowing more? So I'm going to comment 3 interesting modalities. You can adopt a neutral, free, or even a positive tone when you're making your comments in front of the mirror. The first modality is neutral. I need to look at different parts of my body without making a judgment. And this is done with a neutral and objective way, as if you're simply describing something, just like in meditation. You learn to see things as they are. And this is very difficult for me because it is common to be observing the small details that draw attention that I would like to be different. So it is natural that you start to make your own judgment, observing and telling yourself, oh, your arm is lacking some muscle, you'd like your waist to be thinner, you would like your nose to be smaller, and so on. And when you realize that you're doing this kind of judgment, keep it cool, just let the thought go. Just watch the thoughts coming and going without judging yourself. For example, instead of describing your skin as ugly, you can realize this is a judgment, and then you can describe it as just saying that your skin has acne. Okay, that's a more neutral description. And you can also use the perspective of an independent observer. If you would see a loved one with the skin that you have, what would you think? Probably the same skin with the same characteristics, you would look in a different way, with a gentler look, with greater acceptance. Keep your mind in the present moment. Don't be wondering how you would want to look like in the future after you work hard at the gym, right? Or don't be reminding yourself of the past when you were more beautiful with a skin that didn't have wrinkles. Just notice how things are today in the now. Now, if you don't like to be neutral, you can also try a second approach, which is a pure exposure. You can look in the mirror and freely express with authenticity the feelings you experience when you're looking at your own body. There is no need for you to be neutral. You can reveal what it is that you don't like about yourself when you're looking in the mirror, and what are the details that you don't like about yourself when you are thinking that you're ugly. This is not a very pleasant process, but it can help in the therapeutic process. A third approach is a minor exposure with a positive focus, in which you focus your attention on the areas of your body that you like best. This is a positive language. This works best because you can change your self-interpretation regarding your own body. You gain greater wisdom and awareness about who you are, and this helps to reduce interpretation bias. You can also reduce your attention bias. You can also start to perceive your body as a whole and not just be focusing only on the parts that you don't like about yourself. About learning to have focus control, you can visit arata.se/focus course for more details. Now, you can also see yourself differently and reduce the filter of negativity and rejection. This is a way to recycle the way you interpret your own image, and then you get more acceptance. Now, here's a bonus tip. You can use the alarm clock to conduct an observation session in front of the mirror for 10 minutes as part of your morning ritual or as part of your evening ritual. We have several videos here on forming habits and routines in our Arata Academy channel, so please enjoy. Personal development increases your awareness and your wisdom when you're dealing with the challenges of your perceived flaws. A part of your perceived defects can be improved through better nutrition, through better exercise, stretching, clothes that fit you best, knowing how to do better poses if you're taking photos, or even cosmetic surgery in some cases. Now, your wisdom and your self-knowledge will be useful for you to be able to differentiate what is within your possibilities of change and what you should accept, because there is no viable way, no possibility of changing. If you want to have more muscular arms, you can go to the gym. But now if you want to be taller or shorter, there is not much that can be done, so you have to accept. In order for you to gain greater awareness in your choices, you can visit the link arata.se/personal development to access a quick and practical training for your personal development.